Welcome back to the channel. I have been cleaning up the junkyard shop all day yesterday and all day today. So a lot of work. It doesn't look like it, but we have quite a bit more room. So I have all of this area cleaned up. I still want to go through some stuff right there, but it's a lot better than it was. And then I also got rid of that Durango fuel tank. I didn't get rid of it. I just put it outside. I drained all the fuel out of it, put it in the Jeep. And then I need to get rid of that Hellcat, or just put the Hellcat fuel tank outside as well. So get rid of that stuff. And then, you know, over here, I consolidated a bunch of stuff, moved some stuff up to the loft, put some more stuff back on the pallets where it's supposed to go. And it looks a lot better. Under the lift, cleaned all that stuff up. And then over there, I really went through everything and cleaned it up. I put all of the Honda stuff onto my transmission table, which I really like this table. It'll be really nice disassembling engines because it'll just, you know, all the oil just drains right in that jug. I cleaned up this shelf, nothing on it that's not mine, which is really nice. And there's just a bunch of crap in there, which I really was glad to get rid of. And most likely what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my toolbox here. I still need to bring it. And then I'll put all these tools and have this table completely free of stuff, which will also be really nice. Then I cleaned up all my painting supplies off of that table and got them onto a couple shelves in the other shop. And then what I plan on doing today, gonna get the Integra off the lift, outside, get the Pulsar GTi-R on the lift, pull the engine, the transmission, which it's pretty close already, so I can figure out what is going on with this transmission, if it's a bad tranny or if it's just a throw-up bearing. If it is a bad transmission, I have an SER 6-speed manual transmission with an LSD, but you just swap cases or there's something that you do. It seems like it's pretty straightforward and it's still an all-wheel drive transmission, but then it's a 6-speed, which would be pretty cool. It handles a lot more power, but I'd rather just utilize this transmission. If I can't utilize this transmission, they're pretty hard to find, so I'll probably end up doing the SER swap. And I really want to figure out, you know, what I need for this engine. It's supposedly supposed to be built and it needs quite a bit of stuff. So the plan is to Cerakote, like I've said in other videos, a bunch of stuff, pretty much everything in that Honda engine, so I could figure out where it works and where it doesn't, and then I could utilize that knowledge into this SR20 and all my other engines, the Hellcat engine that I'm going to build, etc. So what I really want to do is figure out exactly how well the coating works. I know it works well, but you know, I've never used it before, and it'll be an experience to figure it out because there's not a lot of information online about it. So I want to do the whole block and transfer gray, and that coating actually dissipates heat better than the aluminum by itself. Plus it looks really nice, and then it'll never get dingy like this. So I'll be able to clean it off really easily and not have to worry about it looking like this ever again. The same thing with the SR20. The SR is like rattle can silver, but I'm going to do the same thing in the back of the flywheel because there's a lot of heat and not really a good way to dissipate heat off of a flywheel and out of the clutch because it's inside the transmission. So the back of the flywheel, we'll see what happens. On the exhaust manifold, I'm going to coat the pistons, the top of the pistons with the piston coat, the side of the pistons with the micro slick, and then on the exhaust manifold, I'm going to coat the outside with the same coating that I did the FD exhaust manifold, and then on the inside of two runners, because they're separated, they're 2 and 2, I'm going to do piston coat on the inside. Then I can use a thermometer at the track and see what the difference is between the temperature readings. So that would be really cool. Then I can figure out if it's a good idea to do that on the inside of the exhaust manifolds or not. And then pretty much everything is going to get cleaned up. I'll probably get a different valve cover, redo it. I really don't like that valve cover. I'm going to do everything to the head, the piston coat on the exhaust chambers, the piston coat on the chambers, and etc. So there's going to be a lot of coating done to this. I'll probably freshen up the oil pan because you can't pull it apart enough to blast it, so I don't really want to blast it and then Cerakote it. That's another thing, you have to blast everything. So what I'm going to do is take this to the machine shop, have them hot tank the block, hot tank the head, hot tank pretty much everything that is grimy. Then I'll blast it and then I'll Cerakote it. So that's going to be probably in a couple weeks because I need to figure out exactly what I need to, and I need to take it to the machine shop, etc. But I also want to take some of this stuff to the machine shop too. So another reason for doing this is I get the Pulsar GTi-R over here on the lift, and that gives me more room to paint the Durango. So hopefully by the end of the week, I have the body painted in striker green, and I have the lowering springs and the adjustable arms on the Durango, and she'll be ready for alignment. Then I can paint the bumper, I can paint a bunch of stuff on it, actually get everything ready. I want to take it kind of haggard over to the dealership to get the alignment, and then I need to get a new VIN number because I'm probably going to end up painting that area where the VIN number is right now, and then I could have that windshield put in. So why I need to move all of this stuff, as you can see, there's a lot less stuff right there. I'll move all that up to the loft. Then I can put the GTO under the lift, and we'll have nothing over here, so I could blow the booth up and get the Durango painted. I'm really excited about that. So I did start making this shelf for painting supplies, but I have a lot of painting supplies and a lot of paint guns. So I'm gonna make this upper shelf sanding supplies and like body work, etc. And then I'm gonna make this just dedicated to paint, primer. I actually might put primer up there because it's more body work than paint. Just like base, clear, you know, I have cleaner and stuff like that. So I'll just kind of keep everything separated. It'll be really, really convenient. On the floor, I'll put all my carbon fiber mold making supplies, which will be really nice because those are in 5-gallon, most of it's in 5-gallon buckets. But I'll be very, very excited once I know what's wrong with the Pulsar and I get, you know, the Integra, the Pulsar back together. I just got the Jeep back together. I want to get the FD back together, but we need to get the Durango painted, and I need to get the Charger moving forward. I need to Cerakote some stuff on that, and I don't want to Cerakote anything for that until I do paint the Durango. So let's get the Integra off the lift, get the GTIR on the lift, get the GTO under this 4-post behind me, and if I had like one of those 3-posts, I could just put 3 cars on that lift, but we'll figure that out, maybe eventually. Pulsar's first time on the lift. Let's see what we're gonna find underneath because I really haven't looked. It's weird. It goes forward really easy, but pushing it backwards is almost impossible by yourself. So this exhaust definitely is gonna go. I hope somebody in Japan didn't weld these welds. I mean, this is awful. Look at those welds. So get rid of this exhaust. I'm gonna need to find a new bumper because they had the great idea to cut it. And is the bumper support still back there? Okay, good. We still have a bumper support. Looks like it's kind of bent right here. I'll have to fix that. And oh, look at that hanger on that exhaust. Whew, that looks great. I'm guessing something's going on with the parking brake, why it's kind of sticking when you're pushing it backwards. But what is that, 2 resonators? Or is that, yeah, that must be 2 resonators. Kind of an interesting exhaust on this thing. It goes over the subframe. I don't know if that's how they're from the factory, but looks like there's some rust going on right here. I don't know if that was repaired or what's up with that. Must be like repaired something, but I'll have to pretty much cut that out and fix it. Same thing right here. It doesn't look too bad right there, but just kidding. Or maybe that's the undercoating. Oh yeah, that's the undercoating. Just pretty much blast it off. Maybe that's what this is. Undercoating, and that's the metal. I hope that's what that is. So there's some rust. The drive shaft, man, it has two carrier bearings, 3-piece. Whew. That is definitely a long drive shaft. Up here it's just really grimy, but that's probably good because it didn't let it rust as much. The more oil, the better. So that's not too bad. I don't see really much going on under here. There's a little bit of stuff going right there in that rocker. Can't really tell until I pull the side skirt all the way off. Back here, there's some stuff going on, but it doesn't look like it's through rust. Right here's definitely through. I'll have to fix that. Probably gonna, go through this. I want to definitely drop subframes and everything eventually. Maybe I will drop the subframe so I can figure out what's going on with that weird stuff with the with it sticking. But we have some slotted rotors in the back. I never noticed that before. The fuel thing's kind of rusty, but it doesn't seem like it's as bad as one would think, especially for how bad everybody says these cars are. So we have definitely something going on with the quarter panel. Definitely some rust. It doesn't look like it's up here though. Definitely looks like it's separated right there. Yeah, you can see that. Ooh, crusty. Crusty. Looks like someone tried to pull on that right there. It has some tang coilovers. They look pretty decent. I mean, they don't look like they're that old. So yeah, I definitely have to fix the quarter panel. I plan on putting a whole new quarter panel on this car. If I do one, I'll probably do both of them. This one doesn't look that bad. You can see some surface rust starting right there. Without pulling the quarter panel off or pulling anything, it's really hard to tell. The reason why I want to replace this one is because it has this huge dent right here. I could possibly get this PDR'd out. We'll see if I end up doing that or if I end up just replacing the quarter panel. Up here, I probably want to fix some of this stuff with the pinch weld. I always hated when people jack cars up and they jack them from the pinch welds and smash it all the way flat. It's my biggest pet peeve. There's no reason to jack a car up from the pinch weld. That's not what they're intended for. So yeah, I'll clean that up. And let's get up here. I did know there was some rust on the top of this, and there was a piece, they just welded a piece. I'll fix that. But yeah, I'll fix the back part of that. And yeah, the tow hook doesn't look too awful. I mean, everything looks pretty decent for the most part. I mean, it doesn't look like it has a crazy amount of rust going on, but it does have some. I mean, it is a car from Japan, and they do like to rust because, it's Japan. But I took the fender off before, and it didn't look like it had anything crazy going on, like down on the bottom. Usually they rust out. It didn't look like anything was going on with that, so I'm pretty happy. But I definitely need to pull the side skirt just to kind of get it off the car, because it looks like they tried to pull it, but they weren't very successful at it. And I need to save this piece, because I probably won't be able to find that again as long as it's good. Be happy with the Pulsar. It's if you guys remember, I got this thing for very, very cheap. With the cost of these cars going up, I've seen these from like $18,000 to $25,000, and I didn't even pay half of that. So really happy. I just need to get the drivetrain out of here, which I've already unbolted. The wiring harness is already undone. Everything, all this linkage, the drive shaft is already disconnected. So all I really wanted to do was get it so it was on a lift and I could get it and just drop it straight down and not have to worry. Oh, there's slotted rotors in the front too. Before I drop the engine out of this, I just want to show you guys how bad the head gasket's leaking because they didn't put it in correctly. Look how much oil, how much dirt is stuck to this control arm because there's so much oil on it. It's so crazy. Look at that. Head is now off of the SR20, and to my surprise, this thing is fully built. I can't wait to see what rods are in it, but it looks like it was freshly done not too long ago. Look at that. Perfect cylinder walls. Look at that. Forged pistons. We have stock cams. SRs are pretty good with stock cams, but these things are pretty weak, the transmissions, so you really don't want to go too high in the power. So, I mean, you can make, on stock cams, you can make 450 horsepower. So, what I'm going to do, as you can see, is whoever put the head gasket on didn't know what they're doing, and they smashed it in between the timing guide and the oil pump cover. So, my guess is they put the oil pump cover on after they put the head on, which is a big no-no with SRs. You do not do that, because you can never, I reiterate that, never get the head gasket. It always does that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the rest of the engine apart. I really want to clean it up. You can see it has been painted this silver color. It doesn't look that good. It's not aging well. It probably doesn't have that many miles on it, but the cylinder walls make me very, very happy. So like I said before, I'm going to Cerakote the top of the pistons. I'll also Cerakote the skirts, and as you can see, the top of the valve cover is very clean. Everything's really, really clean. It probably hasn't had very many miles on it since the build, because usually SR20s, every engine you're going to work on has a very distinct oil smell when you start pulling head studs and main studs. This doesn't smell like an SR20, so it smells new. So plus everything is really, really grimy. I still need to get the transmission off. I'm not sure what clutch is in it, because I thought it was just a factory one, but then looking at it from here, I thought it might have been an ACT, but then it kind of looks like it might be gold. So maybe OS Geikens have a pressure plate that is gold like that with sort of ACTs, so I won't know until I get, where's all the bolts holding the transmission on? Well, it probably won't be that hard to pull the tranny, but yeah, let's get the transmission off of here. I figured out what the noise was coming from the transmission, and it wasn't the throwout bearing. The throwout bearing, remarkably, was pretty nice. So I've seen this happen with a lot of Chinese clutches, but never with an ACT. I'm not exactly sure what happened with this, because as you can see, the surface looks remarkably clean. It doesn't look like it's been in there that long, but all of the surface material has just broken off and just started to really degrade. I'm not exactly sure why it did that, but it's all the way gone. I have no clue. I've never seen this happen on an ACT clutch. So as you can see right there, ACT. So I've always had good luck with these clutches. I don't know if I'd throw a non-sprung clutch in something with such a glass transmission, but yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed in this. Well, I mean, I didn't buy this clutch, but I've had ACTs before and they proved me well, but who knows, maybe their quality's going down. The SR20 all the way apart. So I pulled the crankshaft out of it, I pulled all the bearings out of it, and I'm very, very happy that I ended up doing this. This thing sounded really good besides the whole clutch issue with the ACT clutch. I'm still iffy about the transfer case. I want to pull that apart later on. And when I pulled the speed sensor out of it, it had some weird stuff on it. So hopefully that is good, or at least good enough to rebuild. But pulled the pan, or the mid pan, and as you can see, there's like this weird snot stuff in here. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's just like snot. So who knows what it is. I probably could send it in and get it tested, but I really don't care. I'm just going to rebuild the engine. And it has a little bit of bearing material. The oil is kind of cruddy looking. Whatever oil they're using wasn't very good. You can see how clean the pan is. So at least the pan was clean. But coming over to the bearings, so I'm really happy that this block is good, because these Pulsar GTi-R blocks are very, very hard to find. As you can see, the bearings actually, these have probably the best oiling out of any SR, because the bearings, this groove has oiling that goes down into the bottom of the main cap. Usually SRs don't have issues spinning main bearings. They'll spin a rod bearing way before they're going to ever spin a main bearing, but this helps with oiling. So as you can see, I'm not exactly sure what's on the bearing, but there's like some green, I don't know if that's like oxidation or if that's like corrosion. None of these bearings spun, which was really good on the mains or the rods, and it's just really weird wear. The thrust bearings or the thrust washers have some weird wear on them. Usually these don't get anywhere. Very, very rarely that they have any showing copper. I've pulled SRs apart that I've ran and built, you know, for thousands and thousands of miles and many drift events, and never seen any of that. So need to pretty much measure everything, take it to the machine shop. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the pistons, since it has aftermarket pistons, but whoever put them in kept the stock rods. I've never seen this before. They mixed up the numbering on the rods. They had 1 and 4 backwards, but it really doesn't matter. Pistons are CP pistons, which are okay pistons. Not really good pistons for something with steel liners. CP pistons are made for something with aluminum liners, which I may end up doing with this SR20 just to kind of do it, because I've really been wanting to do it. I'll have to send it off and have it re-sleeved with those liners, and then we can get these installed. I have a set of rods. I'm pretty sure they will work. So if they will work, I will just end up using those in this. And if they won't work, I'll just order some pewter rods or something like that. And I'll keep the CP pistons because those are really good for the aluminum liners. I need to get a clutch. I'll also get a flywheel. I have an OS Geiken triple plate for a rear wheel drive SR. I'm not exactly sure if it'll work on a front wheel drive. I'll try it out or research it and see, but just need to really go through this thing, start figuring out what I need to order. I already have gasket kits and gaskets. I have a head gasket, don't have to worry about that. I have bearings as well. I have standard bearings, undersized bearings. It's going to really depend on what's up with the crank. So I need to measure this. I'm going to micro polish it and then measure everything, figure out what bearings I need, and just kind of go from there. Building engines takes a little bit of time, but and I'm also going to be Cerakoting a lot of this stuff. Oh, another thing I did notice, so a lot of people say different things about this, but as you can see, whoever stuck the bearings in, they didn't scuff off that coating that they coat. I'm guessing these are ACL bearings. They didn't scuff off that coating. So a really good thing is to scuff that off, because it's just kind of overspray. And then you don't have to worry about it. But as you can see, it looks like there's coating on that center oil valley and everything. But the cylinder walls look good. I could just put new bearings and stuff in this, clean this block up, but I'm going to go completely through it. I want to Cerakote a bunch of stuff on it, as well as some of the stuff on the inside, and then we'll see what's up with the transfer case once I get to that point. I really don't want to pull that apart. I actually may separate it from the transmission, but I don't want to go stripping down the transfer case all the way. And I'm going to do the same thing with the tranny. I want to take it apart, Cerakote a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, put new bearings, put it back together, so I don't have to worry about any issues like this. So I really don't have to pull this back out, because when I put the engine back in this car, I'm going to figure out what color I'm going to paint the car, and I'll fix all the rust issues and all the issues, paint the whole engine bay. And I also need to order a damper. So the front pulley, unfortunately, the guy, I guess if you don't know this, the guy had the head gasket pinched, and that's a really big issue with SRs because the head protrudes over the block. And when you try to put a new oil pump on, you usually just end up smashing the head gasket into that timing guide, just like it was. It's just easier. It's not easier, but it's always better to pull the head to put a new oil pump on. and also lower the oil pan and everything. So on SRs. But the issue with that is the oil covered this damper, and it just got it's been soaking in that rubber for so long. It was just bad, and also all the belts were bad. So I'm just gonna have to get some new ones of those. Not really a big deal, but I'm gonna clean all this stuff up, organize it, put that on a cart, put it under the shelf. I'll probably get this thing ready to take to the machine shop and figure out what I'm going to do with that. Actually, I probably need to figure out what I'm going to do with the liners first. And I kind of want to go higher compression pistons, so I might just buy pistons and rods. I'd rather have like those are probably like 8.5 or like 8.5 to 1. I'd rather have like a 9.5 or like a 10 to 1 on low boost, like 12 pounds, probably make 450. It's a little bit better response as well, especially on a light car like this. But let's get all this cleaned up. I also want to get over here, and the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to move the GTO under the lift, and then tomorrow we'll get ready for the Durango. I'll blow up the booth, mess with some paint guns, mess with the air compressor. Since I was finished up with the Pulsar, I decided to clean this part of the loft up, and I'm really happy that I did because it looks a lot better. When you're down in the shop looking up, you don't see just a bunch of steering columns sitting there. So I didn't move them that far. I just moved them to right here for now because they need to tell me the day they're gonna come get them, and then we'll get all this stuff, all these tail lights, all these door panels. We have Corvette door panels. We have a bunch of tail lights and headlights, body parts, seats, glass, etc. They need to come get it. Also, they're file cabinets with titles dating probably all the way back to the 50s. But it's really nice having swept all this up and making it nice and clean. Probably 50 years worth of dust in this pile. I want to come in here with a leaf blower and just blow everything out, use a respirator because I don't know what's in this dust, and blow it all out, get it out of here, and then just start fresh. I'm really happy with how this cleaned up because now, as you can see, I stuck some bumpers right in this corner, which is nice. And I'll probably stick a few body panels and stuff up here like that. But I also have these shelves. I started sticking some stuff on there, but this isn't how it's gonna stay. I'm gonna kind of go through stuff as I bring it up, and parts as I bring them up, and just start organizing them eventually. But they need to be up here first. I also want to move these shelves out and sweep behind them and then push them back so they're actually even. They're kind of cattywampus right now. But besides that, and all the dust everywhere, the shop, I moved the GTO over where the 240Z was. The 240Z is now over by the FD under the 240SX. And the reason I did that was because in the next video, we're painting the Durango. So painting this striker green, I need a spot to blow up the paint booth, which now we have a spot. But I need to do the video for the paint booth as well as all my paint guns and set all that stuff up. I need to still bring a bunch of paint and supplies from my other shop down here. I'll do that in the next video, and then in the video after that, spray the body, spray the roof, and we'll be good to go on the Durango. But it's just really nice having all this open space, as well as in the other shop. The more stuff that I bring up to this loft, the more space I have in there. And it's just gonna get better and better as I start organizing stuff. I did take the Durango rear bumper apart. That bumper is like 17 pieces. So there's only 2 pieces that I need to paint, but they're apart right now. So all I have to do is sand them and they're ready to go. There's a few spots that I'm gonna spot prime, but other than that, there really isn't much damage for how badly it was wrecked in that area. Since I'm done cleaning and I'm done with the Pulsar, I'm gonna end the video here. I'm really happy with what I got from the Pulsar. I mean, I bought the car for $5,000. It ended up having forged pistons. Unfortunately, it didn't have forged rods. I think I could use some forged rods I have sitting around for an SR. And I think I have some HKS 264 cams I can throw on that head as well as titanium springs and retainers. And I have just a bunch of stuff I could throw at that thing as long as rear wheel drive and front wheel drive interchange. And I think they do, but can't wait to start moving forward with that project. And I can't wait, I really, really can't wait to paint the Durango and have her done, because then I could take her home. She takes up a lot of space. I mean, she is a huge vehicle. And then I could start working on the Charger. I'm waiting for some stuff I ordered from Dodge for that. It should be here by the end of the week. I get the whole back together and we'll go from there. But if you're here, if you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.